So this is Zohran Mamdani. It's been fantastic watching, kind of Sam from the Majority Report and those guys who are based in America, who are very active in the DSA, going and just saying this guy from day one, being fully behind this. And it was so lovely to watch their live stream through the afternoon and just the utter joy that was in them. Now, the other thing that we're not going to cover off on so much on today is there was also a bunch of wins for the Democrats in other races as well. And it's going well for the Democrats when Fox News has to come out and say like, well, this is not real. This is not, how can you say this is a referendum on Trump? This is not a referendum on Trump. And when they start saying that, like when the right people start complaining, like when people are complaining about capital gains tax and which people are complaining, you think you're sort of on the right track. Same sort of thing here. Right, let's have a look at this historic win.
New York has elected a left-wing socialist as its mayor. Zohran Mamdani beat independent Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Chewie. Ahead of the result, Donald Trump weighed in, saying any Jew that voted for the Muslim candidate was a, quote, stupid person. Senior reporter Juliet Speedy has the story.
Zohran Mamdani's been the talk of the town in the lead up to the Big Apple's mayoralty race.
Who are you voting for?
Definitely for Mamdani.
Yeah, Mamdani.
And you're excited about him?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody excited.
Well, not everyone.
He's a radical leftist. He's a radical leftist.
So, who is he?
Socialism.
A young Muslim self-declared democratic socialist who stormed into the lead in the race to become New York's mayor using viral videos.
Every politician says New York is the greatest city on the globe. But what good is that if no one can afford to live here?
And the ability to speak 5 languages to woo minority voters, and heading out clubbing last weekend to reach the young. But the prospect of millennial outsider Mayor Mamdani
New York is suffering from a crisis, and it's called halalflation.
Did upset some old school Democrats and President Donald Trump.
Didn't just upset some old school Democrats. Some old school Democrats today were saying, well, I guess we have to congratulate him. Like as in Hakeem Jeffries, I think was one of the ones that was being talked about today. I guess we have to congratulate him. So, he has really put shit amongst the pigeons. Does that one work? No, that doesn't work either, does it? Anyway.
People have compared him to a left-wing version of you, charismatic, breaking the old rules. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
But what if Mamdani becomes mayor?
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there.
But Mamdani refuses to be intimidated.
If you are elected, that is a very real threat that you're going to have to deal with. How will you address that after you're elected if you win?
I will address that threat for what it is. It is a threat. It is not the law. And too often we treat everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth as if it is already legal just by virtue of who is saying.
Trump even told Republicans to try and stop Mamdani by voting for another Democrat, his opponent, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, running as an independent. But Mamdani was the clear favourite.
I'm freezing. You're wet.
Even gaining votes from people who voted for Trump, despite the stark contrast between an ultra-conservative and a socialist. Because New Yorkers are feeling the economic pain.
Tell me why.
Because the city right now is a mess. And the food price is going up.
Born in Uganda, he was once a rapper. But now he's singing from a political song sheet and says he'll use it to reject what he calls Donald Trump's fascist ways.
Very interesting. Quite a good wrap up too there of all the comings and going. Really interesting. And the playbook is now there. The playbook is there for Americans, especially I think American voters and the Democrats, especially in urban centres, the bigger cities, where places where the cost of living is hitting even harder. I remember when Bernie was, when Debbie Wasserman Schultz scuttled Bernie's chances by gerrymandering the DNC to allow Hillary Clinton to get nominated. I was like, these guys have missed a generational opportunity here to actually change the whole political system. Now, obviously, Zohran is not American born, so he can't be president. But if some on the American left choose to follow his lead, follow his songbook, follow his path, I think it's the ultimate in populism. And that's what you hear. I mean, I don't want to be too flippant about it. You know, if you're populist, you'll win. But that Trump is sort of like a fake populist because he has all the appearance and the things he wants to do of being populist, but then he doesn't do them. If you're going to actually be a populist and be authentic, like that word you used before, Chewie, and then actually educate the public that the policies and stuff you're talking about are actually, you know, both good, will make your life better, and are affordable, then it's a win-win-win, you know? Anyway.
Yeah, like I just hope that, well, the Democrats see the right messages in this, the right lessons. And I'm not confident that they will.
No.
I think there's too many of them that have been there too long and are too compromised by their donors and not the people. Any sort of victory like this in the American system should be seen for what it is, and absolute triumph. So yeah, hopefully this is, like, everybody looks at what's going on in the States. It is kind of ridiculous that we're all so invested in the mayoralty race for an American city. And we're like, I'm doing it. We're all transferring that situation onto our own situations. But I think you just have to boil it down. He's stuck to issues. And if he keeps doing that, like, well, the people of New York voted for me, I'm doing the things that I said I would for them, then it doesn't matter what Trump says. It doesn't matter what Trump does. Because that's not the game that Mamdani is in. Like, he's not competing in politics on a national level. He's not running for governor. He's not running for Senate or anything like that. That might come later. Who knows? But yeah, he's running the race that he's in. Lots of politicians don't do that.
Yeah, it's the playbook is there. And I think the only thing about it is, like, I've seen this, Rajan mentions in the comments that it's the Democratic Tea Party moment. I think the difference is, again, authenticity. I don't think the Tea Party was authentic. I think they were grifting, and they found their position, and they basically knew what was popular, and that was the reason they did it. Because once they got in there, they basically just bent the knee and ended up becoming Republicans. But I think that this feels a little bit more authentic, if I can put it that way, and that it's actually who he is rather than the new political policy he's putting on. And so when you say other people can pick up the playbook, they do also have to be authentic in that belief, which means it's going to be really interesting for the squad. Obviously, Bernie's well past it now, but, you know, as a figurehead sort of thing, be really interesting to see if they pick up the baton and continue to run, because there was a lot of criticism around the squad kind of coming under the wing of the Democrats and not staying that progressive path quite so much. I think you've probably seen in the last 6 to 12 months with AOC getting back out there with Bernie that maybe they've made a decision to go back to that position. And yeah, it's always the thing, isn't it? It's like the Tea Party is a good example. The Tea Party held the Republican Party's feet to the fire, and they got a whole bunch of concessions. But the squad, per se, wouldn't hold the feet of the Democrats to the fire to get some concessions for the progressive left. I think with Zohran getting elected, and again it being shown again that it's popular, that hopefully the progressive left, the group that's in there at the moment, will use that power, especially if needed to pass legislation, should they win the White House again, to actually get some progressive things through. Hope so.
The other thing that I think it's worth noting, like, some aspects of the US media are absolutely spiraling on this. I think the New York Post, I saw something had a cartoon of Zohran holding up the hammer and sickle. Let's be clear, he's suggesting 36 city-owned grocery stores and free buses. Like, this isn't the fucking Lenin rides again moment. It's just sensible policy. Like, and again, it's like him saying, I'm going to raise taxes by 1 or 2% on the wealthiest 1% of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
He does that and he gets that. But these guys will squeal about it. And it's the same here. It's a tiny fraction. They will probably spend more on donations to political parties rather than just pay it.
It's also what we heard you say with Mr. Seymour. You know, we've heard from enough parents that, you know, and we've heard from enough parents that it's like I said last night, what, that's 700? 700, hearing from 700 parents would be a lot in your inbox. But comparing it to 5.2 or 5.5 million New Zealanders, it's not even a drop in the bucket. It's a drop to make up a part of a drop to go in the bucket. So yeah, it depends. It depends how it's spun as well.